how the draft goes. See whether we're going to be sinners or saints on either side of the rift as we get into the ban phase.
Take a look at what SANDBOX wants to ban away first.
Will we get more Soraka top? So far it's only been Cuvée from Humble Life that's busted it out. It was an interesting team composition, but worked out very, very well. I want more Brad as well. Give us more of these caster supports. So far, Bard is 100% win rate here in the LCK. And we were really happy by some of the drafting done yesterday. Gen G is certainly surprising us with their intelligent maneuvers on and off the rift. I felt like the draft was good, and then the item builds were good. Everything just seemed to be good for Gen G yesterday. Maybe one of these teams has taken some notes.
SANDBOX banning away the Ornn, and you mentioned Soraka, and given the fact that she's a neutralizer in top lane, that used to be the way that some players used to have to approach the matchups against Summit and Keen, in particular, by playing Karma, by playing Tahm Kench, stuff like that up in top lane. And given that Soraka fulfills the same exact role, it's not too surprising, or wouldn't be too surprising to see her come out. But DragonX actually going to ban Set.
Yeah, I was thinking Set or Rek'Sai to be the bans. Coming in last there is Aphelios. I feel like this is almost a pick away, honestly, from Deft, because he played so incredibly well on the champion. And so Elodios is going to be picked up, as you like to call him, to do a lot of stuff for SANDBOX in theory. Now, a couple of picks available for DragonX. Still some priority is up here as Elise, something that DragonX can pick up for themselves if they would like to grab her. So far, 14 out of 20 games, she has been banned. But we're going to lock away some support action first.
I think she's lost every other game, by the way.
Elise?
Yeah, I believe she's 100% loss rate in the LCK.
Ooh, I can double check that one for you.
Check that one real quick.
Let me hop in. Yep, 0 and 5.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Not doing so well.
As Rek'Sai and Nautilus both picked up. Now, this gives SANDBOX the opportunity to realize that both of those champions have one mode, which is to go into the opponents. They're both short range. And given Doran's champion pool that he's shown in the past, you could probably assume, like we mentioned just before this, that Aatrox would potentially come up. Now, and Olaf is locked in. Not the biggest fan of it. Zoe picked up with an Aurelia being banned away. Maybe we just see Chovy respond with Syndra.
Yeah, could be an option here for DragonX. Unless they're planning on some weird shenanigans with a Nautilus in the mid lane or something like that, and then playing some Cloak and Daggers with their draft. 6 seconds to go though here, as it's going to be Misfortune and Nautilus on the bottom side. So just shoring everything up here for DragonX, leaving their solo laners theoretically till the last couple of picks. Zoe currently with a 4-1 win rate and is the most played mid laner so far in the LCK. We've had a lot of different mids though. So Dove, also one of our more accomplished Zoes. Think if Zoe plays in the LCK, you think B2D, and you think Dove as well. So see what Chovy can make of a very much a comfort pick here for the mid laner on SANDBOX.
I would say Chovy is the OG Zoe.
Yeah, I think
going all the way back. He was the first one that really started playing her, and he was a monster on her. So Dove taking it. We'll see how Chovy can respond to it. So far, LeBlanc banned away, which I think speaks volumes to maybe how comfortable Dove is on the champion. Normally, you would want to invite the LeBlanc in if you're proficient enough on Zoe.
Yeah, it can be an awkward matchup, but a theoretical win.
Yeah.
We've seen it be won by extraordinarily good LeBlanc players. They can get around the matchup, but you're right. The bubble can be difficult when Distortion moves you in a line. There's going to be the Rumble Band Blast. Okay, that would be an interesting one.
This is a old Zoe counterpick. I mentioned Malzahar, I believe, earlier on inside of the week as a champion that seems to be forgotten. Because when everyone sucks, Malzahar having sucked for a while.
Yeah, Malzahar, Victor, and Orianna are the meta checkers.
Yep.
For the mid lane.
Azir as well.
Yep,
Azir comes in there. But Victor will be coming in here. Now, he's very good against the Olaf as well because of the movement speed that he ends up getting. It's pretty hard for Olaf to actually reliably stick on him. And Aatrox now being picked up for Summit. He's one of the premier Aatrox players.
And currently sitting
Korea.
on a 23 KDA across his first couple of games. It certainly was all about the top lane, as now we've got one of these favorite bottom lanes across the world in the Braum, alongside
CV Max just move the mouse over. What?
Oh, here we go. This is where that dark technology is coming in. This is a top lane Victor, mid lane Nautilus, and Yuumi Misfortune for the bottom side. 5 seconds to go. And it's going to be Kennen, so never mind. We're going to move all the way back from that. Cancel it out. But we do have a teamfight comp here for DragonX.
I hate everything, Atlas, okay?
It was getting exciting until it definitely wasn't. Oh, dear.
Soraka would have done so much for DragonX's team composition here. Able to do so many things to Zoe especially with the silence, and ruins Aatrox and Olaf inside of teamfights as well.
Yeah, they could have just picked a mage support and then sent that Nautilus into a solo lane, but maybe not wanting to sacrifice laning power.
You could have the Soraka go top. She annihilates Aatrox.
Oh, that's true as well.
In the 1v1, completely neutralizes him, which is the thing that I was mentioning. But instead, we have this bizarre desire to pick Kennen and have him end up going into the top lane. So, you know, we had really good drafts to end the night last night. We're probably going to get good drafts in the second series here. But
yeah, that's true. We like to warm up here in the LCK. we start slow, but then we peak late.
Yes.
You know, that's how it works. As Doran's debut here in the LCK will be on the Kennen. Excited to see what he can do as Pioshik has taken away the Rek'Sai from OnFleek. OnFleek going to be showing us his Olaf for the first time here in Spring 2020. And Chovy's back on an old favorite as well. I mean, I remember there was times where Chovy did show us some pretty amazing stuff on the Victor when he was well and truly in the meta. Was one of the pioneers when Victor came back into the meta as well. Let's see whether he can do it in this game against Dove's Zoe. As we start off
Atlas,
in sepia
you know what?
mode.
This is your fault.
Is it?
Yeah, it's your fault.
Why is that?
Yesterday, Valdez here, no pause to start the game. You come, first thing, 9 seconds in, pause. What's going on here?
You know, I just want to spend more time with you.
Okay, well,
Is that
all you
wrong?
have to do is say so.
There you go. It's also it's a Sunkei day today as well on the Korean caster desk. So theoretically, it should mean that we should be breezing through everything.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah. He's the super speed mode man.
Okay, he's the speedrunner.
Yep. Certainly did not happen this time around though. As still checking in to see what has actually gone wrong. And we'll double check. Yeah, it looks like Leo's side might be some audio issues based on the adjustment of the microphone. But we'll see. Just make sure that everything is okay. You can't Elodios if you've got some issues going on, you know, because there's a lot to keep in your brain with how many different guns you've got and all that sort of stuff.
Gladios is a really great champion.
Maybe he's complaining because his E button doesn't work.
Ooh, that'd be really bad.
That would be a bit silly, wouldn't it?
That would be. are just whenever cameras pan to certain lanes and I see laners in extremely awkward spots, I just try to wonder, how did you arrive there?
Yeah.
How
What choices have you made that have led you to this point?
Possibly led you to believe that was a good pocket to stand in. And you know, I mean, but we'll have to see how Doran ends up doing. It's been a while since we saw him play, over a month.
Yeah.
So we'll see what things he has going on here. Comet, gonna be the rune of choice for Chovy on this Victor here.
Interesting. We've seen a lot of phase rush, things like that for the Victor, but
also
deciding to go with a little bit more damage in the laning phase.
Electrocute on the Aatrox so that he can combo better for kills onto the Kennen.
Yeah, I like
Not
it.
running the Conqueror.
That's an aggro man's choice.
That is an aggro, yeah, that really is.
I like it. Fits in with SANDBOX's Sinner lifestyle that they certainly have going for themselves.
Yes.
They do like it. As more Pacific Rim options here as far as the Aatrox skin
Is that the
choices.
Pentakill Olaf?
Yeah, I think so.
That is, okay.
I actually really like it. Or is it Project Olaf?
No? That looks
What is
human.
it?
I think that looks human. Let's take a look
That
at
can't be
some
the-
of
What?
the runes right here. Aatrox running CDR per level, as well as adaptive with magic resistance. Everything honestly pretty standard so far. Hopefully we get to see more runes from other players as SANDBOX is looking to invade. Doesn't look like Kennen is that interested in trying to poke or do anything, as he's waiting in the brush for Summit to come back. And obviously you have to anticipate that this is something that will end up happening. So Summit's going to start the lane missing a little bit of HP, not the end of the world.
Whoa, somehow that Q landed. That was very strange.
Doran missed a CS though, so I hope that we pan away. I'm not in...
Yeah, don't want to be looking at that one.
Yeah.
Pyoshik now has the opportunity to go towards some vertical jungling if he would like to. Right now on his Wolf camp. But could just be OnFleek running... Oh no, he is going to go straight to his blue. So he's going vertically. See whether the Rek'Sai is able to actually scoot into the enemy jungle. It's going to mean that Deft and Carrier will need to take some control of this lane.
Oh yeah, that's very nice
level
RNG.
2. That's what the best Zoes do. They pick up a redemption at level 2. That's
now, Dove can just cheat a recall right now. He can shove in this wave, recall instantly, go back and get a Dark Seal, and then come back and Victor 40% mana, missing HP, and then the lane would be coming into you. Because Olaf doesn't need you for anything right now. Olaf's just going to continue to clear his jungle. Aatrox doesn't need you for anything. Instead, no recall, Dove burning through his corrupting potions to stay in lane for no reason. Had he recalled, gotten the Dark Seal, gotten a control ward as well, he can come back to lane, have it on his side, lock Victor into the lane, or steal away Chovy's teleport.
Oh, flashes in from Doran. Not exactly what you want to be doing here as Pyoshik doesn't want to go underneath that turret. Flash down from Summit though, flash for flash on the top side. If Pyoshik makes his way back in, there is a chance for that kill. Possibly wrapping around, but it looks like it is just going to be Rift Scuttle going over to this Rek'Sai. Good to see Pyoshik being aggressive here in the early game. Not quite able to get that kill as bottom side of the map. Bit of biffo as OnFleek makes his way down. Lane not in a great spot for a gank.
As it stands right now, though, OnFleek is up 3 camps as he's about to consume the Golem camp. And so Rek'Sai will be the first one to get the recall off. Both Gromp and Wraiths coming up.
Yep, should be able to eat those up pretty comfortably, but was a 3-buff start here for OnFleek. Exactly what you want as the Olaf player. You're not controlling your camps, then you're not winning, really.
The really unfortunate thing right now is that the lane is pushing away from DragonX, and so Pyoshik coming down for I don't know what reason, only to clear out a ward. There's no gank opportunity there, and so he's actually slowed down his own jungle clear to do that path, down to clear out the ward, and so now Olaf is going to be starting his clears around the same exact time. You can even see the pings go out on the map. Everyone knows where Pyoshik is. There was no reason to show himself there whatsoever. And so now everyone on SANDBOX, they're playing with map hacks. They know that the 2 pings went down onto Gromp and Wolves. They know when he's going to path into his Wraith camp. this Rek'Sai is not going to achieve anything. And now with Olaf pathing down on his clamp here, once Rek'Sai ends up at Golems, Olaf would have the ability to do Raptor Camp into Solo Dragon. But instead, on Fleek actually wants to come invade.
Yeah, looking for that turret. Gravity Field is good here. Stov gets Death Raid. He's got himself a Proto Bell. Now On Fleek is hunting for this Rek'Sai. Koshik knows that he's in the area, especially now that he's lost that tunnel. And On Fleek now looking for it. Tunnel out. Koshik wants to hold on to this camp, but On Fleek's just going to bully him out of the way. Ward here in this brush. Doran should be able to stop that recall, does so. Now Summit's going to have to waste a little bit more time. Teleports up for both of these top laners.
On Fleek actually let some of the golems live. I think he mistakenly assumed that the medium Krug was the other one that prevents the respawn.
Ah, yeah, maybe.
And so I think that's the only reason that he ended up letting it live. Otherwise, an Undertow would have cleared it out, gave out on some free XP and some small amounts of gold. Now, Pyoshik is going to be the first one to get to the right-hand side Scuttle Crab. Gorilla not going to be able to reset to there in time.
Actually feels a little bit like we've had a tempo reset, allowing Koshik to successfully get around this jungle a little better. Buffs soon to be respawning now as Doran thinking about heading back to base is going to do so. Decent advantage here for the cannon, but of course that's why you pick it in this matchup, trying to abuse that range advantage, heading towards his Hextech Gunblade as item number 1, but not quite at the Bilgewater Cutlass. One thing that DragonX have been good at is covering the map with wards where they need them. You can see they move their vision towards the bottom side of the map, now thinking about playing around where that dragon is. So here at 7 minutes in, see whether that dragon is going to be a focus, because teleport's still available for the cannon. Slicing Maelstrom is up too. Can be a powerful tool if we are going to get into any of these skirmishes. Conflict towards the bottom side, going to cause some issues, but vision just going to be cleared. DragonX with full information of what's going on.
Pyoshik coming over now to leash the blue for Victor, who has upgraded his Hex Core. As Zoe picked up a heal, so double heal actually on Zoe. Quite impressive.
Going to be pretty healthy here on Dove's side. We're fighting once again. Make It Rain coming down. Gorilla in a bit of trouble, and there's the bullet time. Carrier, he's getting it turned around on though, has to flash to get out of the way of this duo. Deft without any mana, On Fleek moving down. Just a little bit overly aggressive. It's heal traded for the flash of Carrier.
The thing about this is On Fleek is in close proximity, and so now SANDBOX, they could just freeze bot wave. And that's what they're doing. You see the ping on the minions. Deft cancels his recall. He's like, no, this cannot happen. And now he's going to move forward. It might cost him one of his summoners, or he's going to waste even more time. It's amazing how this example of a freeze is commonly understood inside of laning phase, but apparently 10 minutes from now,
No, that doesn't exist.
All the logic that surrounds it just goes right out the window.
That's not what you want. Well, Shelly is going to get taken here comfortably by Pyoshik. Was top side that they were actually considering as Chaos Storm. It's come into the mid lane, Chovy. I like it. This was the classic Doinby style, where you just throw down your ultimate as often as you possibly can for lane pressure. First Hex Core upgrade has come in so far for Chovy. And we'll be looking at that next one as soon as possible. Looks like he is going to be going for the Luden's Echo build path. Lost Chapter to be coming in next, from what I can glean. And we'll be just upgrading the Hex Score as often as you possibly can.
And all of this is looking really good right now, as we're having an extremely stable early game, first 10 minutes. And when this is happening, you really kind of don't feel that good if you are SANDBOX. And mostly because the champions on the side of DragonX, I would say, do outscale that of the ones on SANDBOX. And a lot of that, in part, has to do with, well, you have an Olaf.
Yep.
And he's not going to do that much this time around. Doesn't have a Yuumi attached to him. And a Soraka juicing him up constantly. As Summit.
Yeah, Doran's going to break the chains. But good combo there from Summit, demonstrating the power of that electrocute quite well. See whether Doran can just stand back and auto some minions to utilize this Vampiric Scepter to help him out. I like the little balloons from this Zoe skin, by the way. I'm a big fan.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. A little bit of a carno. Oh, baby, here we go.
Yeah, we got to dive. That's the flash. Sorry, no, it's
what?
Not. That's just a hook. Now we're going to throw in Shelly as well. Good knock up, and in goes Doran. The bullet time is going to rain down, and Pioshik is also going to pick up one of these kills, but in comes Summit now. Doran has flashed already. Needs to try and get the hell out of here, and the turret is going to find him. It's now Dove standing on top of the Chaos Storm. So far, still a win here for DragonX as they got all of those plates, as well as an extra kill. That could have been better here for DragonX with a better disengage.
It still ends up being advantageous for them. One of the things that you do have to consider, though, is the top minion wave, I believe, was taken by Summit prior to the teleport, so that has to be factored in as well.
Yeah, they'll lose all of that.
Yep. So, we'll take a look at that one more time. I don't think Doran had to die there in the replay.
Okay, Bubble going to land here onto Chovy. A bit of damage. But Death Ray does come back, and Chovy survives for the moment on about 300 health. Looking like he will just go back to base now.
He doesn't have teleport available, so this is a really unfortunate recall timing. Keria misses the hook, and this is what was so surprising is SANDBOX knew about this. You can see Summit on the minimap teleporting in the middle of the lane, and then watch this follow-up here. Doran did already flash, and then wait for it.
Yeah,
the turret.
It was the lightning rush.
Yeah, it was the lightning rush that aggroes. So actually, he can't. I don't think he can live there.
Yeah, I think it was actually really smart of Summit to make sure that he just kept his body on top of the little rat. These two had no options there.
Call him Cannon a rat.
Yeah, it's just a little ratty boy.
Right, no big deal.
Yeah,
that's fine. You know what?
There's nothing wrong with a rat, by the way. Okay. Rat's a nice animal.
All right.
Have you seen pet rats? They're adorable.
I've actually never personally seen a pet rat. I've seen mice.
Yeah, mice that's more common.
Yeah.
Pet rats are like even cuter.
Okay.
Yeah, big fan.
They do say beauty is subjective. So.
The eyes of the beholder, my friend. All right, Doran. Got a couple of friends up here. It's a decent knock-up from the first part of the queue.
I'm going to call these friends.
Yeah, well, we're going to go give him a big hug.
Oh, no.
And make his screen a bit grayscale.
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, it's not one you want. But it's not looking like a dive is on the cards here. Doran's still pretty healthy. And a cute little knock-up that Summit probably didn't want to take a turret shot there. Pioshik now going to take away a Raptor camp. And you can see completely evened out the camps on this Rek'Sai. Both Rek'Sai and the Olaf pretty good at killing jungle camps. But so far, Pioshik is about one ahead. Now considering this Mountain Drake.
And the Mountain Dragon is actually really big, again, because not a lot of champions on the side of SANDBOX end up building that much pen. I think it's a little late for On Fleek to start into the Black Cleaver. Obviously, Summit going to be building Black Cleaver. It's had a nice little tweet segment talking about Trinity Force versus Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
And you're a fan of Trinity Force Aatrox as well? Is that something you were talking about last
I
night?
am a fan of Trinity Force Aatrox. Talking about that on broadcast with Valdez.
Not a very common one.
Not common at all. No. And that's fine.
Deft getting angry at this dragon. He really wants to kill it. There are a few members of SANDBOX in the area. Pioshik going to come back down, and thanks for the leash from Deft. On Fleek, possibly looking for a fight here as the gravity field does come in. On Fleek can, of course, Ragnarok, but the dragon is going to be taken, make it rain, just to get them out of the way. Into Narnia goes the ultimate from Gorilla, but still opportunities now. Moonlight Vigil coming down, good exhaust onto Chovy. That Chaos Storm not doing nearly as much damage, but now Gorilla's going to be taken. Carrier goes golden. SANDBOX can't find anything off the back end of that team fight. Oh, unless Dove can get in, but no, he can't. DragonX make it out. I believe that was a stop. No, it wasn't. It's just Doran and Summit fighting one another.
1,500 gold lead right now for DragonX here, as Summit is being basically grappled with in top lane. He's not able to do the things that one would expect him to, and this is what Doran was actually really good at last summer, and it's why a lot of people, especially CV Max, basically touted him as being better than Sword. So he was able to actually contend with the Elite Four, go up against them, and go even in a lot of cases.
And also his playstyle is definitely more about winning the lane and playing aggressively, whereas Sword was about facilitating and getting to those cerebral team fights that Griffin were known for. That isn't Doran's playstyle. Doran is more like a Summit player who does want to go aggressive in that lane and try and win out in split pushes and in side lanes and really play those carries. Still yet to see too much here, but that first gank on bottom side did certainly work.
Victor's walk animation, there's something about it. I don't like it.
You don't?
No.
You don't like the old man walk? It's a bit like a Swain walk.
Yeah, it really, I don't know, it just bothers me.
Right. Well, we'll try and keep him off screen as much as possible.
Alright, thank you, Atlas. Honestly.
I'll try.
Alright.
Hasn't even picked a skin here on Jovi's side.
I like the Bumblebee Victor.
Yeah?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like
I know
the
that
Pharaoh, look at the yellowy.
That one's a bit of a savant skin.
It
I'm a fan
definitely
of
is.
that
You are? Okay, you struck me as a bit of a savant.
Yeah, okay. Because that was one of the OG skins. I think it was the cheaper one that came out originally.
Yes.
And that's the one that I use too. Not Creative Victor. Everyone uses Creative Victor.
Yeah, that one just, it looks like a really not well-fed dark side or something. As we're taking a look at this replay, Chovy manages to get behind Kyria Piotrek with the knockup. Kyria ends up going golden, and then Dev, and no one else can really follow up and find the damage, not worth losing their life over.
It's pretty nice seeing Chovy back in the mid lane, I'll tell you that much. I think he played that last skirmish about as well as you possibly can to avoid death. Sidestepping the Glacial Fissure was certainly up there. As Keria now finds himself a couple of friends. Undertow lands. Depth Charge comes out, but Keria is going to survive. Flash now on cooldown. Deft is making it rain just quietly. Deft is sitting on 2-0-1 now and has himself a decent CS advantage and is the only player in the game with a bounty. Just one of those Deft things that happens. Just feels like he gets himself further and further ahead. If you leave him alone, he will just win the game. So SANDBOX haven't done their due diligence to get rid of what can be a hard carry for this DragonX squad. Good sidestep there from Doran and does break the chains as well. Gives Summit a stun for his time. But lane swap is now in effect, and this top outer turret is where DragonX are putting their time. Oh, good bubble lands there. Dove trying to come on in. Chovy lands the Chaos Storm, but is still going to fall. That's what happens. This is mid-game. This is Zoe time. And already, Dove demonstrating what you can do at this point. And Shirley is going to come out and see whether she can get some work done here in the mid lane. And Keria is going for an engage. Death does turn up. Bullet time now available. Shirley is going to be taken down. It doesn't get rid of that turret, but does leave it on its last legs.
Summit down here now in bot lane, trying to just raise this last turret. As he's going to take a trade onto Doran. Takes the turret shot. World Ender.
Okay, he's going aggressive. Slicing Maelstrom does come in. No more minions are in here. The flash has to be used to Summit. Goes for it once again, but now no dashes, no flashes, and no kills under that turret either. And Doran holds onto his flash in amongst all of it.
Summit messing up a little bit mechanically. Not something you'd expect out of him. He actually had the Pansy Feet to be at the very edge of that Maelstrom, but eventually went back in, having to blow his flash. Doran able to retain his. Definitely a very big victory for DragonX, especially with the Infernal Dragon coming up in just 5 seconds. You can see Doran's going to be the first one to get the reset off, and now is Summit going to want to actually expend his teleport here. Not that it's really the end of the world. I mean, this is the only major neutral that is up and is going to be up for the foreseeable future. As
this is actually very scary because both SANDBOX and DragonX have pretty fantastic poke coming out of things like the Zoe, the Victor, the Misfortune, even the Cannon in the laning phase at least, or at least if he's in a side lane trying to go up against Summit. So Infernal Soul is going to be fought over by both of these teams a lot. This is very important. First one going to go over to DragonX. They get their first 5%. Doesn't mean too much
4.
As we have a look at this once
even
again.
worse,
Sorry,
Atlas.
4, yeah.
Like Jin,
Yeah.
you know?
Not the kind of 4 that Jin would really want, though. Let's be honest, as Ragnarok was popped, and that was a very dead Chovy.
And we're back in, you know, a little bit of a lull state currently, as we're gonna have ping pong.
And
Another redemption picked up. Dove is honestly just
he's the best Zoe. That's how you determine the best Zoe. Yeah.
okay.
As Deft has been he's been looting pantries. He's got a whole bunch of plates. Put him in his back pocket. Got a couple of kills here as well. As Doran's going to once again find Summit. Blast.
Oh,
interrupted.
tells him to sit down.
And there's the world ender, but this time the Slicing Maelstrom's in a good position. Great healing coming through from the Aatrox, but that is going to be one of the Qs dodged. Second one dodged, third one dodged, and the stun should be coming through soon. Infernal Chains were in a great position. Forced the flash out there from Doran, but otherwise played excellently from the cannon.
You can see Summit wanting to get really aggressive, and Dove here even able to go tit-for-tat against Chovy's Victor, bringing him to very low HP value. Now, here's the big question mark. Oblivion Orb picked up on Doran second, despite the enemy team already has magic resistance, and they're incentivized to build more due to the Victor that is already on the team as well as the cannon. So even if it ends up going into Morellonomicon, there's even less healing than Aatrox normally has, as Conqueror is missing.
Now I don't think Morellonomicon is the right choice here. I don't mind Oblivion Orb, just alongside the Sorcerer's Shoes, because
Gives you the 33 pen.
Because Doran, his job is getting into a backline and murdering Leo, and he can do it pretty consistently. Because there's not a lot of hard CC that can interrupt something like the Slicing Maelstrom. You need to be able to displace the cannon to get him away from Leo, and I think that, honestly, Slicing Maelstrom would just kill him. Kill Leo in almost one rotation.
If he can get onto Aphelios through everyone else, that'll be really good. So, because Aphelios, yes, you're absolutely right. He is going to be the least likely to have the magic resistance, as he just completed a second core item. We'll see what he ends up going into as his third item. But in every other situation, you'll have wanted the Void Staff to work through everyone else. Or even Leandri's.
Or Azanya's. I think
Azanya's,
Doran probably wants to build that as quickly as he can, or at least get himself a stopwatch. Doesn't have it just yet. We'll see whether the cannon's going to go back and prove us wrong or right about his build path. But, it's his first game here in the LCK, and he wants to make us proud. So I believe in you, Doran. You can do it. Puts down his control ward. He's going to go back to base. And Deft possibly jumped on him. Moonlight Vigil does come down. Bullet time. Flash immediately out. Deft is going to survive, but now doesn't have ult or his biggest cooldown.
Now, at this point, DragonX, they're still only ahead about 1,500 after they pick up some of these side lanes. And take over.
Are you alright? What happened?
Did you see the cannon?
Yeah, he got out of the way. Oh, the cannon. Yeah, no, I did see that, but I've trained myself to ignore getting tilted by cannons. We've been let down too much.
Well, we got about a minute until the Infernal comes up, so no action until then. Are there any new movies coming out, Atlas?
Nothing that I've really been
It's really been very bland.
It's been quite dry.
It sucks for like the last 8 months or something, right? Since Joker.
Yep.
Actually, Joker was the last good one, and then before that, there wasn't really anything.
Yep.
Once
Upon a Time in Hollywood was another fantastic one. That was a little bit earlier than that.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
That, I actually left the theater upset.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to go in an entirely different direction, and they didn't.
And they kept our hopes up
yes.
for a really long time as well. That's a blasting wand, and I'm disappointed in Doran as carrier.
Oh.
A bit disappointed in him as well, but does have the aftershock, and the Gargoyle Stone Plate keeps him alive for a very long time. The flash to get out of the way was trying to bait on Fleek. Looks like he's going to survive. Bubble onto Pioshik means that he can't continue any follow-up. As Summit stays towards the top side, Doran is just clearing things out in the mid. Drake up again in 7 seconds time, and that's where DragonX want to be. Want to try and contest for that potential Dragon Soul coming in next after this one does come down. SANDBOX are in position. Cannon, no flash available, but Slicing Maelstrom is there. We're looking for a bubble. Dove doesn't find it. Teleport to come in. Doran in an awkward position right now as he shoots Summit with his sword. Drake now, it's going to be a 50-50. Locked down by the Rek'Sai, and there's the bullet time as well. Deft gets the full channel off, and Gorilla has to get the hell out of there, but in comes Summit. Finds the better position, and Chovy's going to go down. Carrier balls at the same time is now Deft in so much trouble. Pioshik does lock down the Aatrox, but the damage has been done. Leo able to survive on the edge of the Slicing Maelstrom, and Pioshik wonders where the heck all of his buddies just went.
So that was one of the most opportunistic team fights that SANDBOX could have just hoped for, honestly. As
Pioshik?
Yeah, he might flash. Oh, he finds a tunnel.
He does. Gets through that wall. That was very cheeky, but the Baron is now getting taken here. No vision available, but also no people available.
Yeah.
So this should just be taken. 26 minutes into the game, SANDBOX found their opening, and that wasn't just a little bit of a punch. That was a knockout. As Carrier comes on over, and he's going to see the inevitable. Well, thought about it, and I think that was an early smite coming through from Unfleek as well, but you're not going to be able to do anything with just a depth charge and no flash or a blast cone.
We'll take a look.
Have a look at it again.
At this, as DragonX clearly wants to get the Infernal Dragon. They end up getting it, but then Nautilus ends up getting locked up. Aphelios doing massive damage. Kennen can't enter the fray, and Summit on Aatrox just destroying everyone as the cooldowns were expended on DragonX. And this is what I meant by opportunistic, is Kennen isn't able to get in there, and then everyone else is so disjointed.
Yeah, and also Kennen without flash is way less dangerous than any other kind of Kennen. So Doran does have it available now and does finish the Forbidden Book as well. It's not what you want to see. Still, not all over for DragonX, only a 2,000 gold advantage, but with this Baron buff, SANDBOX are very, very scary. They have massive range from their AD carry, and they have a Zoe, the siege monster herself. Now Doran trying to defend against SANDBOX's split-pushing Aatrox. Pioshik coming on down here. They do get the knock-up. Slicing Maelstrom comes in as well, but that's a very golden Aatrox, keeping himself alive for quite some time. Worldender will get a lot of healing, and he's utilizing it so well. Now in comes Unfleek, and Summit will survive for the moment. No one on DragonX is going to fall, and they do keep the turret alive.
So Summit gonna be able to, yeah, Summit gonna be able to live there. They have a minute and a half to still stave off. And if they can do it, they'll get one more chance to get to that Infernal Soul. And that's the real danger right now for SANDBOX, is that DragonX is threatening that Infernal Soul.
Deft has flash, Doran has flash. As long as DragonX can hold on to those two cooldowns before the next Dragon fight, there is certainly a chance for DragonX to find their dream team fight. But it is a tall order because SANDBOX are not going to give up the pressure to the team that is known to play fast and loose League of Legends. As Leo, this combo, Crescendum and Calibrum together is just really nutty with these chakrams going everywhere from gigantic range. I think that one is quite rude, that combination. Now we've got defense on multiple fronts, but this inner turret is easily going to be taken, and that gold lead continues to stretch. Getting closer and closer to 6,000, and we're basically cresting it right now. Minion wave going to be dealt with. Drake in 1 minute and 10 seconds time. This will be the team fight that decides the game.
Rabadon's death cap, not sure actually how far away Zoe is from it. She did just come off a fountain. Also has the ability to sell the corrupting potion for a couple hundred, so when you factor in Zoe's gold per minute, just have to wonder how close she is. It would be really big if there was somehow a way for her to have this before the Infernal Drake, and if there isn't, it's really important that she just purchase a Sorc Elixir to get as much AP as possible, but it doesn't look like Dove is actually interested in going back, so maybe we see a ping off on that wave. That could be Dove saying, I just need this for death cap.
Doesn't have teleports or anything like that, so we'll have to try and get back as quickly as possible as Doran. Oh, if that Infernal Chain had have gone off, That would have meant Flash, and that would have meant the next team fight.
Yeah. 3 items for both AD carries. Double stopwatch on the side for both of these teams.
Ooh, Bubble is going to land here. Good tunnel, gets Pyosik out of the way as Carrier trying to buy some space. Has the Gargoyle Stone Plate. Now they're looking for a team fight.
Summit's dead.
In so much trouble. Down to his GA. Will be respawning, but in goes Doran now. He finds Gorilla, he finds Summit, but otherwise he doesn't find anything. He needs to be on Leo, but he was nowhere in sight. And the Aphelios is going to get the revenge onto him as Carrier. Not sure what that was as Pyosik tunnels in, tunnels out. DragonX feels like they've lost the team fight before it's even started.
Yeah, there was absolutely no reason for Doran to do that. And he just threw away the Infernal Dragon by rushing way too hard. And so now it doesn't mean that DragonX is going to lose this by any means. This starts off with a bubble landing onto Pyosik. He ends up getting out of it, going back through his tunnel really quickly. Summit gets brought down, and then watch Doran. He just... Leroy Jenkins right into the front line. And you can understand what he's trying to achieve, but it's very, very needless to do it in such an aggressive manner, especially from the angle that all of his teammates would have to approach from.
And they're also fighting in the perfect place for a Zoe as well. I mean, Dove had an absolute field day because there was no way that he was missing any of his bubbles. He had so many walls to throw them through. It's just... You got to play around your composition, and DragonX straight up did not do that in the last fight. Still, like you say, it's not over. It's not like they're fighting for who gets the Dragon Soul. It's only DragonX that can get it from the next Drake as well. But as this game goes on, it feels like SANDBOX will be able to strangle DragonX out of more resources. She'll be able to make it more and more difficult for this squad. And we're still at a time of the game where Zoe is extraordinarily strong. On-fleek remains relevant. And Leo's going to get stronger and stronger already with an item advantage over Deft. Even has that CS lead as well, just with how anemic DragonX have been. The map has certainly closed in on them over the last few minutes. Didn't even have to use the stopwatch on Leo's side. Stopwatch going to be very, very important. And Doran really wants to build towards his Zhonya so that he can at least go into stasis for the next team fight as well. QSS is done for Deft though, so that could be great news for DragonX fans in the next team fight. Not all over yet, but the Baron has been started. Leo's got the Crescendum, he does so much damage for this. There is no way Pyosik is even getting in here. Gorilla makes sure of that with a Glacial Fissure, and that is an uncontested Baron just with how much map control SANDBOX had for themselves.
Doran didn't even have anywhere that he could try to flank teleport to, even if DragonX wanted to try to take a team fight. And so it just looks like a slow and steady death. And I want to point out that even though Victor isn't a problem necessarily inside of this game, we're also seeing why he hasn't been picked for a very long time. He has Ludens, he has Hexcore, he's had them for a very long time.
Yeah.
Victor is really, really expensive for what he offers. And it takes him an extremely long time to get online for what he offers. And so, even in this game, he's sitting on the Blasphemon, he's sitting on the Amp Tome.
Void stuff
it should be
back.
Void Stat. There it is.
Yeah.
Chovy is a bit of a savant.
Yeah.
So.
At least he's got the right build, but it's also the wrong champion. So, a little bit rough. However, good to see it. And we have Zhonya's completed here for Doran as well. Some item completions coming in now for DragonX, but we're going to have even more on the side of SANDBOX. That death cap that we were talking about is done for 3 items on Dove. We've got just luxury items to complete now for Leo. He's basically sorted. Now Deft with a big overshield. Trying to defend this inhibitor turret. Make It Rain is going to guarantee that siege minion, but there will be more waves coming forward. As we have multiple fronts that SANDBOX is pushing in on.
And so if DragonX would be able to, again, survive through this push, through this siege, and make it to the Infernal Dragon, they would still have a Hail Mary left inside of this game. They're definitely going to lose the bottom inhibitor. That's at the very least. Next wave, almost there in mid. Doran might just panic and pull the trigger soon. Never mind, he's going to Lightning Rush away.
Yeah, and losing 2 inhibitors, that's not as easy to deal with as Def is going to get pulled back, does have flash available, uses the QSS and just dies. Cannot even press his D button whatsoever in that team fight. Kojic has to tunnel his way out. The Nautilus just dead as Doran doesn't even go golden in the fight. DragonX looks like they've collapsed as their Nexus turrets are doing the same. SANDBOX continue on their tear in the LCK during game 1 against DRX. They'll need to do it again, but damn is momentum on their side as it's only an Nexus between them and continuing their undefeated streak. Okay, that's a Void Rush. That's Leo just shooting the Rek'Sai in the head. Chovy's going to follow suit. He'll go down. The ace comes in just before the Nexus falls, and SANDBOX pick up the win.
They end up picking up the win, and it all started with that one team fight where Doran just couldn't enter in. Everyone ended up getting killed.
Yep.
And so it was a really big opportunity that SANDBOX capitalized on, and then it happened yet again. So if there were a way to give the MVP to someone on the enemy team, it would.
I don't even know which member of the enemy team you'd give it to be perfectly honest.
Doran. I would. But nonetheless, I'm gonna. I actually think it's Summit for MVP, even though Dove had so many bubbles. He got a lot of key pickoffs and he dealt enormous amounts of damage, but a lot of the major turning points around neutral objectives that pole vaulted them back into the game was on the back of his Aatrox.
Yeah, and also being able to start fights and win out in that flanking war is why they were able to win that one team fight that honestly won SANDBOX the game. So I can understand that. I gave my vote over to Dove just because he played such consistent mid-game Zoe, which is exactly what you need from that champion. He was landing the bubbles where he needed to. Carrier seemed like a bubble magnet. No one could escape from this guy Zoe, and a Zoe that's played that well makes you remember just how busted the champion really is.
Seeing a replay here at the very end. Def QSS's but didn't flash.
Yeah.
And so a little bit unexpected of someone of Def's caliber to see that kind of mistake. Doran using his Slicing Maelstrom after the Zanyas. And honestly, just had a very off game. So this brings me to the question, do we see Quad come into the mid lane, Chovy subbed out, Doran subbed out, and Trainer Red make his way up to the top?
Well, Chovy versus Summit could certainly be a fun one, as Pyosik just trying to D-pad that KDA. Wants to get as many deaths in that column as possible as we have a look at the pro view from Summit. Max range, and he was as surprised as we were.
Notice the mouse proximity. That's one of the things that you can look for when Summit is doing everything that he's doing. You want to try to click as close to your champion as possible to have more control over the champion's avatar, make him turn, make the avatar be where you want it to.
And I love this. This is the perfect example of a Zoe composition. It hits 25 minutes into the game, and then you just win.
The Zoe bubbles are pretty nice.
Yeah, especially around that time where you're able to catch people walking around through the jungle, things like that. It's a composition that needed to win around then as well before the Olaf became irrelevant. That being said, they're staring down this Rek'Sai composition, and Rek'Sai does a similar thing to Olaf. Doesn't necessarily dominate or anything like that. So we are going to be going to a short break. When we get back, game number 2 between SANDBOX and DragonX. See whether DragonX can pull up their bootstraps and bring us to a game number 3. We'll find out after the break.